Gambia launches first ever e-learning platform to provide a fair and quality education for all. The Gambia Chamber of Commerce has presented an ambulance worth over $2 million to the prison services. And Twitter is set to open its first African headquarters in Ghana. Well, these and more coming your way in News Desk. Hello, this is Africa TV. Many thanks for joining us. I am Amadou Kante, and now the news in detail. And we begin with education matters because the Ministry of Basic and Secondary Education has on Wednesday launched the first ever inline in Gambia, a new era in the country's educational sector. The platform seeks to provide students with the opportunity to have access to fair and quality education, so as to recover from the devastating impact brought by the COVID-19 on the education sector. At the beginning of the COVID-19 pandemic, schools across the country were closed to mitigate the spread of the virus. The CISE has more details of that in this report.
The Island Gambia is a 24-hour online distance learning platform that seeks to promote and enhance access to equitable and quality education for everyone in the country. The project intends to facilitate the recovery process of the loss of instructional hours as a result of the long-term closure of schools at the peak of the COVID-19 pandemic in the country. The Minister of Basic and Secondary Education, Claudia Nakol, described the move as historic in their drive to providing quality education for all.
This is one of the flagship initiatives undertaken by my ministry in response to our Digital Education Action Plan as enshrined in the Education Policy of 2016 to 2030. In response to the policy, the Ministry of Basic and Secondary Education is committed to providing equitable, inclusive, and quality education to all students in the Gambia, both in times of relative stability and in emergency situations like the COVID-19 pandemic that has greatly impacted on the global education system, including the Gambia.
The Minister of Information and Communication, Infrastructure, Ibrahim Asila, pledged his ministry's partnership and support in the process of digitalizing the academic sector. Consequently, the Communication Ministry will provide the avenue to all radio and television stations across the country to obtain direct access to lessons delivered through the Island Gambia project.
I think my ministry will be very effective here to create a synchronized platform system that all radios and TV stations around the country can have direct access to. And all what the MOPSI will do is just to upload this content on that platform, and it is digitally delivered to all the collaborators so that you don't have to have the opportunity of delivering this content face to face.
If Flores Mendy, a software engineer who was part of the brains behind the Island Gambia technology, highlighted some of the routes taken to arrive at the launching.
Some of the challenges are, we have, it's not like one man show, you understand? So this is something that has to be, nationwide. And in that case, you need to be very careful when developing such a platform. So, you need to consult XYZ when it comes to this. You need to consult this individual when it comes to this. So all those things were challenges. But at the end of the day, they were able to come together and we delivered it, yeah.
Since the outbreak of the COVID-19 pandemic, Gambia has been in search of a feasible continuation of teaching and learning from physical grounds to different online platforms. While teachers were at liberty to engage their students through different virtual sites, including Meet and Zoom, the ministry sponsored a coordinated broadcast of lessons through the mass media for a couple of months. With the latest project, it is highly anticipated that with the gap of access to quality education between students in rural settings and their mates in the urban areas might be closed with the second phase of the island Gambia in a complete offline version. As of the launching date, up to 100 video lessons have been uploaded on the island Gambia platform, with more learning materials in the pipeline. Reporting for iAfrica News, I am Daisy.
A new digital learning platform has been launched by the Gambia's Minister of Education. Now, Tunisia's business community is calling on the government to provide financial assistance to help businesses recover from the severe impact of the COVID-19 pandemic. A report conducted by the country's business leaders organization indicated that over 90% of the businesses did not receive any financial support from the state. However, the government says it has initiated programs to compensate people who have lost their jobs during the pandemic. We have more details of that in this report.
The leaders organization has come to study to evaluate the financial situation of firms which have. The study shows that 98% are in favor of a tax amnesty, while 96% say and public banks offer any help to ailing small and medium-sized enterprises.
5% of business leaders and firms in Tunisia did not get state financial support, lockdown, and the success of the pandemic. 10% of entrepreneurs are very pessimistic about the economic situation in 3 years, while 87% need financing support. The data is terrifying.
The Ministry of Social Affairs and the Finance Department announced that the government has created a fund offering unemployment assistance and compensation.
The government has created a national office for social integration to help employees who've lost their jobs, as well as the Employment Loss Insurance Fund to compensate tens of thousands of workers who are now jobless. These measures require dialogue between the authorities and the unions.
The country's powerful labor union announced that an immediate employment and social policy response is needed. This plan will help mitigate the impact of the COVID-19 crisis in Tunisia.
The labor union has invited the Tunisian government and parliament to a social dialogue. We cannot abandon the firms and employees who've been affected by the health crisis. The economic and social situation is critical in the country.
Experts assert that Tunisia needs an economic response plan to allow ailing businesses to restore their financial balance in the next 3 years. The North African state has been battered by the COVID-19 pandemic, which caused its economy to contract 8% last year. The Tunisian Confederation of Industry, Trade and Handicrafts has urged the government to launch the economic recovery plan as soon as possible. This new plan aims to reduce the economic and social repercussions of the pandemic and ensure the resumption of economic activity.
Let's stay with more business news now, because the Gambia Chamber of Commerce and Industry, GCCI, has on Wednesday donated an ambulance worth $2.5 million with fuel coupon worth $100,000 to the Gambian prison services. The gesture, according to GCCI, is part of efforts meant to promote and institute a platform to genuine reform in the prison system and the rule of law. Binta Jallo tells us more of that in this report.
After decades of neglect and misuse, the infrastructure and assets of the prison service are in a state of dilapidation. Some say in order to improve inmate care, the prison service must invest in infrastructure, assets, and asset management. The Mile 2 prison has over the years lacked proper medical center and ambulances. GCCI has, however, stepped up to provide the country's main correctional center with an ambulance worth $2.5 million. The Deputy Director General of Gambia Prison Services, Modu Jaju, described GCCI's intervention as timely, adding that it will help in improving a better health services for over 400 inmates.
Currently, there are no ambulances in Joson Prison Camp and Janjambure. whilst Mile 2 has an old one. The old ambulance in Mile 2 precincts is overburdened and pressures of providing paramedic services to both Mile 2 and Johnson precincts. Therefore, the acquisition for an ambulance for the precinct is long overdue and will go a long way in improving the provision of health services to the precincts.
The president of GCCI, Idrissa Mas Job, outlined the purpose of the donation.
At the onset of the COVID-19 pandemic, GCCI realized that our prisons, together with the hospitals, are the worst and most vulnerable places in the country. Hence, in the spirit of true generosity, we focused our material and financial contribution to helping these two institutions. Our efforts were directed not only to regulate the distress and provide the much-needed relief in times of confusion and uncertainty. Our efforts were meant to promote and institute a platform of genuine reform in the prison system and rule of law.
According to him, prisons are not isolated from the society and prison health is public health. He added that the ambulance will further strengthen the agenda of equivalence of healthcare, saying that the right to health is a principle that applies to all prisoners who are entitled to receive the same quality of medical care that is available in the community. The vast majority of people committed to prison and the prison guards and their families interact continuously, making prisons the reservoirs of the seas. Gambia's central prison has never been a high-standard correctional center, but many argued that things became worse under the 22 years rule of former President Yahya Jammeh. Mile 2 was built by the British colonists in 1920 in a swampy area infested with mosquitoes and mangroves. Situated along the Banjul Highway, the prison has 3 areas: security wing, main yard, and main wing. For iAfrica News, Pinta Jallo.
The Gambia Prison Services are receiving an ambulance worth over $2 million from GCCI as a gesture to boost their operations. Now to some agricultural news. Strawberry farming is gaining momentum in Nigeria as young Nigerians are venturing into strawberry farming to boost their earnings. The new farming initiative has the potential to provide wider job opportunity for Nigerians, especially young people, according to experts. As we feature in this report, a 45-year-old Nigerian farmer is making a decent income out of his strawberry farming activities. Here's more details of that in this report.
Theophilus Twamian, harvesting the last batch of strawberries at the tail end of its planting season. The 45-year-old was seeking to augment his monthly income 4 years ago and found strawberry farming a lucrative business. The fruit is in high demand here in Nigeria. Theophilus harvests more than 60 kilograms of strawberries weekly. 1 kilogram sells for about $3, so he rakes in an average $180 weekly.
Strawberry has helped me in many ways. One, it has helped me to pay my children's school fees. That helped me to manage my family also. Because of this strawberry that I've been farming, I don't touch my salary again. I use the money of strawberry to feed my family, to train my children, to pay their school fees.
Strawberry farming is fast gaining traction in Nigeria. Asides being eaten fresh, it's also used as raw materials for food production. Farmers here require only a small portion of land, which makes it easy for many young farmers like Theophilus to cultivate. But experts say there's a much bigger earning potential yet to be harnessed.
There's a huge market for it, and we have opportunity to create more awareness about the strawberry crop and its potential, the value chain, the whole strawberry value chain, which would readily be embraced by young people who need little or minimal guidance to go into the local production. The potential for job creation is huge. It also begs for public-private collaboration in adaptation.
But a greater percentage of the harvests go to waste due to weak preservation capacity for agricultural produce.
The reason why we still have 60% post-harvest loss annually in Nigeria is the reason why we have a growing rate of unemployment, because the solution to that post-harvest loss is the jobs that are not created, So once you open up the post-harvest sector as an industry that has potential.
Reports from the Bureau of Statistics show that 33.3% of Nigeria's working population are unemployed. But with strawberry farming, more young Nigerians are able to beat the unemployment challenge. A further expansion of the production chain would open up a vista of opportunities in the subsector that could further close the unemployment gap.
Strawberry farming gaining momentum in Nigeria as more young people are venturing into the agricultural ventures, I say, are earning more income from strawberry farming. And from that inspiring report there, we will now take a break and come back shortly with the remainder of the story. Stay with us, we'll be right back.
The pride we take in our brand, the work we put into constantly change the landscape and elevate real estate in the Gambia, it's compared to none. From inception, our goal was to add value to the beautiful Gambian landscape. That's why we are proud innovators of community estates. Kololi Sands is an exceptional piece of work, tailored for ultimate convenience and luxury, to bring you an element of finesse that is rare but unique in its own. This is also our pride and joy, and we welcome you to the exquisite beauty right here in Kololi and right here on the waterfront. Kololi Sands, feel the ocean breeze at your doorstep.
Welcome back, and this is Africa TV. Once again, many thanks for joining us. Now, as among many social issues making the rounds in the country, increment of fuel pump prices is among the matters that frequently affect Gambians, especially drivers and passengers. Within the span of 3 months, the price of fuel pump has increased more than $10. Mariama Cham has more details of that in this report.
With the frequent increase in fuel pump prices, issues of $2 change is sometimes a tussle between the apprentice and the passenger. Drivers are devastated with the situation as they have no idea why fuel pump prices continue to increase, causing problems for stakeholders in the transportation sector. Halifa Jame, a taxi driver, appealed to authorities responsible to always give reasons on the frequent increase of fuel prices.
The challenge is that the frequent increase will go 1, 2, 3, up to 4 times, but we will never complain. And if you don't give coins to the passenger, there is always a problem. So we'll even curse you, saying you will never make it in life. I'm appealing to the government, or be it the transport union, to tell us why the fuel is being increased, and also to find a solution between the authorities, the drivers, and the passengers, as the fuel price increase is always a challenge.
For Ibrahim Abayo, the increment is affecting all parties. He adds that with the fuel price increment, there are no proper roads to use it on.
The fuel is expensive, and looking at it, it is affecting the government, the drivers, and the passengers. What I see is that you will buy fuel and at the end of the day, you will have to use it. Commuters are suffering, and if the government should help, let them reduce the fuel price or increase the fare to $10, because if we want to increase the fare to $10, it always brings tussle between the driver and the passenger, and they are right, because they're supposed to get their $2 change, and if you the driver want to seize the $2 by force, then you are creating a problem.
To Al-Hussein Sane, the increment has left drivers wondering about the reasons behind the act.
We the drivers sometimes don't understand the reason for the increase in gas oil, because sometimes when you buy fuel and then come back a few days later, you will find out that it has been increased, or sometimes it occurs within a month, and this keeps us in the dark, as we don't know why it is happening. This also causes problem between drivers and their passengers with regards to the $2 change.
Petrol prices has been increased from $47.03 to $52.03, while diesel rose from $46.64 to $50.64. However, drivers urge the government to be given reasons whenever prices go up, as they have no clue as to why the frequent increase of the fuel prices. Reporting for iAfrica News, I am Mariama Cham.
The recent increment of fuel price raises concern among the transport sector, especially the drivers and some commuters as well. Now, one of the world's major social media platforms, Twitter, is about to open its first African operation house in Ghana, but this is not without concerns in some African countries, including Nigeria. The move is, however, being welcomed by Ghanaians, who believes it will further improve the technology industry in the West African state. Here is more details of that in this report.
Kwabena Nkrumah has been connecting with people, especially technology savvies, on the social media app Twitter for more than a decade. He is among several Ghanaians excited about the company's decision to set up its first Africa office in Ghana. He believes it will drive a change in the technology space in the country.
Our skills are intangible, so it's very difficult for business to say, hey, a developer deserves this amount of credit or this amount of remuneration, because clearly they don't know how much it's worth. So for a company like this to come, it's going to raise the value of our developers, of our techies, and then thereby causing a shift.
Twitter says it settled on Ghana because of its support for free speech and democracy. It plans to employ 11 Ghanaians for positions including engineering, marketing, and communications specialists. But the choice of Ghana as Twitter's Africa headquarters hasn't been without controversy. Twitter fans in Nigeria see it as a snub to the continent's largest economy, which is also experiencing growth in its tech space since Facebook set up its first community hub in Africa in Nigeria in 2018. They wondered why their country was not selected because it has more than 36 million Twitter subscribers, which exceeds the entire population of Ghana. Analysts say Ghana had the upper hand because it's easier to do business in the country than Nigeria. In 2019, Ghana surpassed Nigeria in the World Bank's Ease of Doing Business Index, ranking 13 places higher. Nkrumah says the presence of Twitter in Ghana could unearth many brilliant minds in the technology space.
It may draw the attention to some local developers' products. That is good, but nobody is seeing. Maybe someone has created something that Twitter could put into Twitter and it could be very, very famous, but nobody's seen. But Twitter being here, that person could be seen.
Kwabena Nkrumah hopes this opportunity will help to transfer skills to many developers in Ghana and the entire African continent.
All right, there you go. Twitter wants to further explore the African market as it is set to open its first African headquarters in Ghana. Well, from that report there in Accra, Ghana, we finally bring this news edition to an end. But for more details on this and other stories, as ever, you can log on our website on iafrica.tv. But for now, though, many thanks for the privilege of your company. Thanks for watching. Stay safe and do have a very pleasant afternoon. Bye for now.
They say we slept in one world and woke up in another.